Chosen one, have you ever noticed how everything can change in a single moment? One revelation, one truth, one unexpected breakthrough can completely transform the way people see you. For years, others may have underestimated you, misunderstood your silence, or judged you based on incomplete information. They created stories about your life without ever taking the time to understand your heart, your purpose, or the path God was preparing for you. But God has a perfect timing for everything, and when He decides it is time to reveal what He has placed inside you, no opinion, rumor, or false label can stand against His truth. What once remained hidden begins to shine with undeniable clarity, leaving those who doubted you questioning everything they believed. In this message, you'll discover why God allowed the waiting season, how your true identity is being revealed for His purpose, and why this new chapter is only the beginning of something far greater than you ever imagined. There comes a moment in every chosen person's journey when the truth can no longer remain hidden. For a long time, people may have judged you by what they could see on the surface. They measured your worth by your current circumstances, your quiet nature, or the seasons where nothing seemed to be happening. They assumed that because you were not demanding attention, you had nothing significant to offer. But God often works in ways that the world cannot understand. Before He reveals a person's purpose publicly, He first develops their character privately. While others were making assumptions about your life, God was preparing you for a greater assignment than anyone could imagine. Many people mistake silence for weakness, but in God's kingdom, silence is often a place of preparation. Think about the lives of those throughout Scripture who experienced seasons of waiting before stepping into their calling. Their greatest victories did not happen overnight. God allowed time to shape their faith, strengthen their wisdom, and prepare them for responsibilities that required spiritual maturity. The waiting season was never a punishment. It was a classroom where trust, patience, and endurance were being built. During that hidden season, some people misunderstood your intentions. They may have ignored your kindness, questioned your decisions, or underestimated your potential. Others formed opinions without knowing the battles you fought in private or the prayers you whispered when no one else was around. Yet none of those opinions had the power to change what God had already spoken over your life. Human judgment may influence conversations, but it can never cancel God's purpose. Now the season is beginning to change. What God placed inside you is becoming visible, not because you are seeking recognition, but because His timing has arrived. When God opens a door, no person can permanently close it. When He shines His light on your gifts, no amount of criticism can hide them. The same people who once overlooked your value may suddenly begin asking questions, wondering how everything changed so quickly. What they fail to realize is that the transformation did not happen overnight. It was taking place quietly while they were focused on everything except what God was doing in your life. This is why you must never become discouraged by misunderstanding or rejection. Those experiences do not define your future. They simply become part of the testimony that reveals God's faithfulness. Every challenge strengthened your spirit. Every disappointment taught you dependence on God instead of approval from people. Every closed door redirected your steps toward the place where your purpose could fully unfold. As you move forward, remember that your identity is not determined by public opinion, social recognition, or the expectations of others. Your identity is established by the One who created you. When God reveals what He has placed within you, every false label begins to fall away. The truth becomes impossible to ignore, and His purpose speaks louder than every doubt, every criticism, and every limitation that others once tried to place upon your life. This is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of a new season in which God's plan becomes clearer, His favor becomes more evident, and your life becomes a testimony of His perfect timing. One of the greatest lessons you will ever learn is that not everyone is capable of recognizing what God has placed within you. Some people only understand what is familiar, comfortable, and easy to explain. When God begins forming someone for an extraordinary purpose, that process often looks confusing to those watching from the outside. They may assume you are moving too slowly, dreaming too boldly, or choosing a path that makes no sense. Yet what they fail to see is that God is building something deeper than outward success. He is shaping a heart that can carry His blessings without losing humility. There are seasons when it feels like no one notices your efforts. You continue praying, learning, growing, and trusting God while it seems that everyone else is receiving recognition. During those moments, discouragement may try to whisper that your work is being wasted or that your faith is leading nowhere. But God's timing is never delayed. Every unseen act of obedience, every quiet sacrifice, and every step of faith is being recorded by the One who sees everything. Nothing you have done in obedience to God has ever been meaningless. Sometimes God intentionally keeps His chosen ones away from unnecessary attention because premature exposure can create unnecessary pressure. A tree that has not developed strong roots cannot survive a powerful storm. In the same way, a person whose character has not been fully developed may struggle to handle influence, responsibility, or success. God values your spiritual foundation more than your public image. Before He raises you where everyone can see you, He strengthens you where only He can. As God begins revealing your true identity, some people will respond with surprise. Others may become uncomfortable because your growth reminds them of opportunities they ignored in their own lives. A few may even attempt to explain away your progress, refusing to admit that God's hand is upon you. Do not allow any of these reactions to distract you. Your responsibility is not to convince people of your calling. Your responsibility is simply to remain faithful to the One who called you. Remember that Jesus Himself was misunderstood by many during His earthly ministry. Some questioned His authority, others doubted His mission, and many refused to believe what God was doing through Him. Yet their opinions never changed God's purpose. In the same way, you cannot allow criticism or misunderstanding to become louder than the voice of God speaking over your life. As this new season unfolds, keep your focus on God's direction rather than people's approval. Continue walking with humility, serving with excellence, and trusting His leadership even when every answer has not yet been revealed. The more you depend on Him, the less you will be shaken by changing opinions around you. The truth is that your identity has never been determined by applause or rejection. It has always been established by your Creator. When God chooses the right moment to reveal what He has been building inside you, no false story can survive the light of His truth. Those who once overlooked you may finally recognize what God was doing all along, but your confidence should never come from their recognition. It should come from knowing that God's purpose for your life has always been secure, and His plans for you cannot be stopped by the misunderstanding, doubt, or limitations of others. Chosen one, there is a powerful difference between living for people's approval and living according to God's purpose. The world often rewards those who seek attention, but God blesses those who remain faithful even when no one is watching. While others were focused on gaining recognition as quickly as possible, God was teaching you patience, wisdom, and self-control. Those lessons may not have seemed exciting at the time, but they have become the very foundation that now supports your growth. Every challenge you endured was preparing you for a future that required strength far greater than temporary success. Many people believed they understood your journey simply because they could see a small part of your life. They assumed your quiet seasons meant you had stopped dreaming. They thought your delays meant you had been forgotten. But what they never realized was that God was working behind the scenes, arranging opportunities, strengthening your faith, and placing the right people in your path at exactly the right moment. His work is often invisible until the results become impossible to ignore. One of the greatest mistakes people make is judging someone's future by their present circumstances. They see where you are today but cannot imagine where God is leading you tomorrow. Throughout the Bible, God repeatedly chose ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things. He called shepherds, fishermen, and servants to fulfill assignments that changed history. Their surroundings did not determine their destiny because God's purpose was always greater than their current situation. The same principle applies to your life today. As your journey continues, you will notice that some people begin treating you differently. It is not because you suddenly became valuable. Your value has always existed in God's eyes. What has changed is that your growth is becoming visible. The confidence, wisdom, and peace that God has developed within you can no longer remain hidden. People are beginning to see the fruit of years of quiet obedience, faithful prayer, and unwavering trust. What they are witnessing today is simply the harvest of seeds that were planted long ago. Do not become distracted by those who suddenly want to celebrate your success after ignoring your struggles. Stay humble and remember where your strength comes from. Every blessing you receive is another opportunity to glorify God rather than yourself. Pride may attract temporary applause, but humility invites God's continued favor. When your heart remains focused on Him, He continues opening doors that no human effort could ever unlock. There will also be those who struggle to accept your progress because it challenges the opinions they once held about you. Instead of arguing with them or trying to prove yourself, allow your life to speak louder than your words. Consistent character, faithful service, and unwavering integrity will always communicate more powerfully than endless explanations. God never called you to win every argument. He called you to remain faithful to your assignment. As you step into this new season, remember that your purpose is far greater than gaining admiration from people. God is revealing your identity so that your life can become a testimony of His faithfulness, His grace, and His perfect timing. The doors opening before you are not accidents, and the opportunities appearing in your path are not coincidences. They are reminders that when God finishes preparing His chosen servant, no misunderstanding, no delay, and no opposition can prevent His promises from coming to pass. There are seasons in life when it feels as though nothing is happening, yet those are often the moments when God is accomplishing His greatest work. While the world celebrates visible progress, God is more concerned with the unseen transformation taking place within your heart. He knows that lasting success is built on a strong spiritual foundation, not on temporary recognition. Every quiet season has been preparing you for responsibilities that require wisdom, patience, and unwavering faith. Many people assume that if they cannot see immediate results, then nothing is changing. But God's process rarely follows human expectations. Just as a seed grows beneath the surface long before it breaks through the soil, your calling has been developing in ways that others could never recognize. Every prayer you offered, every lesson you learned, every disappointment you overcame, and every act of obedience was strengthening you for the moment God had already planned. It is important to understand that delays are not always denials. Sometimes God slows your journey because He is protecting you from opportunities that arrive before you are truly ready. A blessing received too early can become a burden instead of a reward. That is why God often allows time to refine your character before expanding your influence. He is preparing you to carry His favor with humility, integrity, and gratitude. As your identity becomes clearer, you may notice that your priorities begin to change. Things that once seemed important no longer hold the same value. The desire to impress people is replaced by the desire to please God. Fear gradually gives way to confidence, not because you trust your own abilities, but because you trust the one who is guiding every step of your journey. This inner transformation is one of the greatest signs that God is leading you into a new season. Do not become discouraged if some people fail to understand the changes taking place in your life. Not everyone is meant to recognize your calling, and not everyone will celebrate your growth. Continue walking in faith, even when your path seems lonely. The approval that matters most comes from God, not from the changing opinions of people. Remember that every season has a purpose. The hidden years taught you dependence on God. The difficult moments strengthened your faith. The unanswered questions developed your patience. Now those experiences are becoming part of the testimony that will encourage others. As you continue moving forward, walk with confidence, knowing that the God who prepared you in private is also the God who will establish you publicly according to His perfect will and perfect timing. One of the greatest gifts God gives His chosen people is the ability to grow through every challenge instead of being defeated by it. The very experiences that were meant to discourage you have become the tools God used to strengthen your character. Every disappointment taught you wisdom. Every rejection built resilience. Every difficult season deepened your dependence on God. Looking back now, you can begin to see that nothing was wasted. Even the painful moments served a purpose in preparing you for the calling that was waiting ahead. There were times when people overlooked your efforts or questioned your potential. Some may have spoken words that caused you to doubt yourself, while others expected you to remain in the same place forever. They believed they had already figured out who you were, but they never understood that God was still writing your story. They judged a chapter while God had already planned the ending. What they considered your limitation was actually the beginning of your preparation. The beautiful truth is that God never measures your future by the opinions of others. He sees the purpose He placed within you before you were even born. Long before anyone recognized your gifts, God had already appointed your path. He knew the doors you would walk through, the lives you would influence, and the testimony your journey would one day become. That is why you must never allow negative voices to become louder than God's promises. His word has always carried more authority than human criticism. As you continue moving forward, you will discover that your greatest victory is not proving people wrong. Your greatest victory is remaining faithful to God regardless of what others think. When your focus stays on His purpose, you no longer feel the need to defend yourself or seek approval from those who misunderstood you. Your peace comes from knowing that the one who called you is also the one who is leading you every step of the way. Never forget that every obstacle you overcame has added strength to your spirit. Every delay has increased your patience. Every unanswered prayer has taught you to trust God's perfect timing instead of your own expectations. Now you stand stronger, wiser, and more prepared than ever before. Continue walking with humility, confidence, and faith, because the same God who carried you through hidden seasons is now opening new opportunities that no one can take away. Your identity is firmly established in Him, and as long as you keep following His direction, His purpose for your life will continue to unfold in ways greater than you ever imagined. As you move into this next season, remember that your greatest strength is not found in what people say about you but in what God has spoken over your life. Opinions will continue to change, circumstances will rise and fall, and people may still struggle to understand the path you are walking. None of those things have the power to cancel God's purpose. The one who called you is faithful, and he will finish the work he has started within you. There will be moments when new opportunities appear, unexpected doors begin to open, and relationships shift in ways you never imagined. Do not be afraid of these changes. Every step forward is evidence that God is leading you according to His perfect plan. Walk through each door with humility, gratitude, and unwavering faith, remembering that every blessing carries a responsibility to reflect His goodness and love. Keep your heart free from bitterness toward those who doubted you. Forgiveness is not about pretending the pain never happened. It is about refusing to let yesterday's wounds control tomorrow's purpose. When you release resentment, you create room for God's peace to guide your decisions and His wisdom to shape your future. The greatest testimony is not simply that you overcame difficult seasons, but that you allowed God to transform your heart through them. As your journey continues, remain faithful in prayer, grounded in God's Word, and committed to living with integrity even when no one is watching. Your identity is not built on success, recognition, or applause. It is firmly established in Christ, and that foundation cannot be shaken by the opinions of the world. Trust God's timing, embrace His direction, and move forward with confidence, knowing that the same God who prepared you in the hidden seasons will continue to guide, strengthen, and bless you as His purpose unfolds in your life, bringing glory to His name and hope to everyone your story touches. As we come to the end of this message, remember that your journey is far from over. God did not reveal your identity so you could seek the approval of people. He revealed it so you could walk boldly in the purpose He created for you. Keep your eyes on Him, trust His timing, and never allow fear or doubt to silence the calling on your life. The same God who protected you in hidden seasons will lead you through every new opportunity ahead. If this message spoke to your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs encouragement today. And always remember this: when God reveals who you truly are, no lie can stand, no obstacle can stop His plan, and no power on earth can prevent the destiny He has prepared for you. Stay faithful, stay humble, and keep walking in His light. God bless you.